All right, welcome everyone to tonight's select board meeting. Today is Monday, September 9th. I'm Sabrina Dunlap with Ken Constable, Whitley, Jeff Donahoe, and hopefully Thomas and Poma will be joining us shortly. So first up is points of pride.
Sure, I have two tonight. Really just a thank you to everyone in this building. We had over 200 assessment hearings going on here over the last 2 weeks. People were coming and going. It was kind of crazy and dealing with people. And at the same time, really thank you to everyone who helps with the election. There have been a lot of absentee ballots, a lot of new voters. The clerk's office has to handle all that. The moderator and the clerk did training with all the ballot clerks on Friday, as well as did the test of the ballot machine. DPW set up today, and it just takes a lot, and everybody does a little, which makes it relatively easier, at least for everyone. So thank you to everyone involved in all those things.
I was just going to thank the fire, police, and everybody else involved in fair and it's the township that weekend. And I want to thank Neil particularly for organizing county night and the one gate. I thought that went so much more smoothly than the other.
1,166 bands were given out.
Anyone else? All right, now we have administrative versus approval of the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda of September 9, 2024.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next is approval of the public meeting minutes from August 26th, 2024.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we have three non-publics. First is approval of non-public meeting minutes from August 26th, 2024, session 1.
I'm moving no day off.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, approval of non-public meeting minutes, August 26th, 2024, session 2.
I'm moving no day or not see.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
And approval of non-public meeting minutes from August 26th, 2024, session 3.
The last time I moved and no day off.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor? Okay. Thank you. So we have one public appointment tonight, 5:30 with Dan Reserve regarding George Park.
Wow, right, really in 5:30, I didn't expect this.
It's good to be at the beginning.
It is, like, love the stuff being with the road, if only we can set a time to end of that. There we go. So thanks for having me, and first, I want to thank you as a group for dedicating the funds to address the bathrooms at George Park. This is something that's been on, I think, collectively our radar screen for 20+ years. They're abysmal, and you guys finally got us through and kept the new budget and the CIP and all that. Doing that. It was great. It's one of the reasons I went to the town meeting actually, is because I knew it was going to be there, and just in case there were any issues, I want to make sure I can talk about it. So thank you, first of all. However, I'm here to talk about the location values, and this falls after the vote this spring. I reached out to Neil and said, you know, when's the project going to happen? And he told me we're going to do it fairly soon. And I said, well, I hope the school's involved. And he said, you will be involved. And I said, great. Didn't hear anything. And then the fall, I checked back and said, what's going on? And he said, well, we've decided we're going to go back to the original plan. So just a little bit of background. In 2016, I was part of a committee that was put together by the select board. It was myself, Rosemary Ledbeater, it was Steve Murdo, Paula Simpkins, and Greg Roberts. And the 5 of us were tasked with George Park and what we were going to do with that facility. We developed a series of needs and wants. We shared that with the select board at the time. I actually still have the PowerPoint. And number one on the needs that approved was to address the bathrooms. They're that bad. It's 2016, 2017. That's what we saw. In terms of needs, we looked at the overall park, and we said one of the things we want to very good track. We've got a track team that does not have a track. We do community use of the field inside. This would be great, and so we put that in as a list of wants as well. With the bathrooms, I think it was Neil who reached out and said, "Can you get some quotes on what a bathroom would cost?" And we got a couple of quotes, and the first one was from the company Belmont, which we sold it. And the second one was Capital Kitchen and Bath that looked at keeping the same current size we have now, and reusing some of the electric and some of the water stuff that we have there already. It was less than half of the original, of the other quote. Right there, we gave those numbers to Neil, and I think that's why you have that money earmarked in your budget is from that. The other thing that happened around that time is Neil reached out to, actually, Neil, to talk about who's in town, Hoyle Tanner, engineering firm in Manchester. And Hoyle Tanner designed the entire park, and they looked at it, and I really think part of this was, there were questions, can a track really fit at George Park? I mean, I've been part of at least 4 committees that have said, let's put a track there, at least twice, there have been timelines for a track, it's never happened. And I think it was always that question, and we've gone using right on with the numbers and stuff, could this really fit? And sure enough, Will Tanner came up with this plan, and it was a plan for the park. Parts of that plan we have adopted. I know that the town has fixed the entryway to make it a straight road, which is great. They've addressed the fencing around the whole facility, which is great. But there are other parts of the plan that I don't think we're going to adopt. For instance, I hear that the short area of Blood Field is part of that. It's not going to happen. So I think just because it is the plan doesn't mean it has to be the plan that you follow. And that's where it comes down to talk about these bathrooms at George Park. There are 4 things that really strike me about the bathrooms. The first one, don't want to grandstand here, but I oversee and schedule more events for that facility than anybody else. I know what the crowds are like. I know what the bathrooms make sense. They make sense where they are right. I really truly believe that. I have nothing except for anecdotal evidence and a quote from Capital Kitchen and Bath. It's cheaper, but it makes sense. Even if a track does go in down the road, nobody's going to mind walking an extra 100 yards to the bathroom as long as the bathroom commits. It makes more sense. The second thing that really got me, and that's why I asked Neil to put some slides up, is when I started looking at this plan again, this Hoyle Tanner plan, and I realized the effect it was going to have on our facilities. And if you look up there, you see this is kind of how this is exactly how our fields are laid out right now. We have the field hockey field on the right side, and the soccer field is really positioned as closely as we can. That corner that is closest to the track, it's about 6 feet there. We can't get any closer to the track. It would be dangerous because we're kids taking corner kicks on the track. The other side of the track, we are actually the other side of the field, excuse me, we're within 1 foot of the baseball line. And if you've ever seen a soccer field that crosses on the baseball line, it's miserable. That's what we have right now. It looks like a big facility. It's really not that big. Neil, would you go to the next slide, please? Sure. Thank you.
Just have to share it so people can see it at home.
So this is the conceptual plan that Will Tanner came out. As you can see, actually you can't really see, but as you can sort of see, they're going to shift over. They've got Clark Field, which is the second softball field. Shift it over. They're going to reconfigure Blood, slightly change the direction of Blood Field and make it shorter. Put in an 8-lane track with multi-purpose field in the middle. The problem with that is it now makes the soccer field and field hockey field, there's not enough room for it. So what they do is they put that other field where it says phase 2 is right in the middle of a big field. That would actually be the other playing field. So we would have 2 fields. One is phase 2, the other one is inside the track. That's what the plan is. The bathroom, they located kind of in the center of the structure. You can see it's next to these softball field. And that's what the plan was. They're also going to take the 2 tennis courts that are there and the basketball court. They're going to relocate them up by the. This would be wonderful. Don't get me wrong. This would be wonderful. I've been here a long time. We've talked about tracks and this facility, and I know the stuff that you are going through financially. I just would be shocked if this happens in the next 10, 20, my life. But maybe. However, as I looked at this plan, I realized there's a problem. If you go to the next one, Joe.
Sure.
So if you forgive my photocopying skills, what I did is I took the original plan that I had, which was drawn usage plan from way back when. And I took the foil tanner plan and I matched the scale of the two of them and I overlaid them, to see what it would look like. That dark area right below where it says 330 feet, that's where the foil tanner plan falls down. So the bathroom, if we're gonna follow this plan, it goes 2 feet up the front soccer field. Now, if we follow it, we have now entered our soccer field. You can't have a soccer field directly next to the building. You have to have at least 15 feet of movement there. And as I showed you, if you want to go to the fourth one, here you go. As I showed in the first schematic, it's very difficult to make that angle. In fact, in this one, what would happen is either we would go directly across the baseball field, we would have a corner of the soccer field that was on the track, or we would run into the field on the field. The only way to get around this would be to follow the foil tanner plan, which is both one field, east-west, perpendicular to really the field on the field. What we've done is we've taken 2 playing fields and moved into 1 playing field for the sake of that. That was the one that really got me. And I said, I'm gonna go to the board and say, come on, first of all, I think it makes more sense to leave that where it is. Second of all, what it's gonna do to our playing fields. Great, if we do this track, fantastic. But realistically, again, 10, 20 years, when's this gonna happen? We've eliminated a playing field here at Ryan Street. Third of all, I think safety is an issue. And I think leaving the bathrooms where they are right now, we have video cameras back in high school. They're not wonderful. We don't get pinpoint camera accuracy on who is entering them, but there is surveillance. It would be nothing if it was over there. And fourth of all, I think the disruption would be amazing. If we were going to start a project here, and Neil talked about doing this 2025, if we start this here, we pick up the soccer field, there's going to be disruptions, probably the softball, because there's batting cage there. It's also, you're very close to the outfield fence there. There's also disruptions to our track team. We're trying to help in the first place because that's where they participate in the gathering. It messes up a whole bunch of stuff. If, on the other hand, when you do it where the bathrooms are now, you see at the top of this, you can see where the bathrooms are now. If you were to work in that facility, you can actually have baseball games going on and there would be no disruption. Doesn't interrupt it. And I really think those are the 4 reasons why we should keep the bathrooms where they are and renovate them there. I would like to tell you, I really think time is of the essence. I was surprised that this project did get out the ground this year and on the past, so that we have a road or a culvert or something that passes in the bond in the spring, that's something we start. And that will push it out in 2025. It's not going to be cheaper. I think we really need to get going with this, and I applaud you for getting the funds there. I hope in 2025 we start almost immediately lining somebody up and say, let's renovate the bathrooms where they are now. Let's get this project on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't find my notes from 2018, but my digging back in my brain, I seem to recall like there were a lot of people who wanted the bathrooms moved. Like maybe you were one of them. No? Okay, so.
We wanted new bathrooms.
Okay. So then what do you recall me, like, what was the purpose of moving the bathroom?
So I'm not sure, although our staff said it was your idea. So let me.
Because if that soccer field were there, it's not just a bathroom, it's it's storage, and it's also a scoreboard location is the idea. And so at the end of the football field, actually at the end of that field and by the track would be a scoreboard. Again, would be nice, not necessary. It's cheaper, it's easier to keep it where it is.
So there was the PowerPoint presentation, and out of that, the Hoyle Tanner was hired to put this together. And out of that came the plan. And I thought that went through the committee, but I'm not sure about that. And the board adopted that plan in 2018. It would, the Hoyle Tanner plan. And all the numbers we have came from Hoyle Tanner. The 120 we have is the number that was in the Hoyle Tanner plan adjusted for inflation, although probably not adjusted enough because that's changed since then. So that was adopted, and we've been trying to fund those the different phases. We've really done phase one, the driveway, the drainage. Go back to the fence, yeah, which was actually in there. So that's been a good improvement. Come back. Yeah, this one. These things get in the way. Sorry. So we've done the road, the parking, the yellow up there is drainage, that's been done. So we're up to phase three. So I think the difference between the two is this one includes the full-size track. Because that's what was. So. But the difference between the two plans you saw, I think, had the current track versus this is the full-size regulation track, which is what was asked for at that point. And the track is phase 4. The talk had always been, the last sort of structuring plan was 2030 is the soonest that would potentially happen. And the talk was that would be 1/3 funded town, 1/3 school, and 1/3 fundraising. So I'm not sure, and I don't, in talking to staff, I don't think anyone's against leaving the bathrooms. Oh, we did one more thing in 2020. We've looked to see if Bloodfield could stay the full length, and it was determined that yes, it could. So that was the board did discuss that.
So it feels a little bit like if we had unlimited funds, construction need would had everything done on the weekend. This plan, what we all want to do.
If I could just say one caveat to that, since I have to my soccer coaches, one's like game, the other one's trying to be here. That puts field hockey and soccer fields east-west fields. They all say you do not want east-west fields. It is, nobody builds fields like that anymore because of that street goals and it's some way to the other eyes.
So if they don't want to start the field, they want to have two fields.
Scott Zickey at one point had a plan for track Whitfield fields. I don't know how that looks today. I'd have to look at that again. I didn't get a chance to look at that. But that would be the one that's right.
In the trade-off between east-west field versus having a full-size track. Absent that, we could snap our fingers, having something located storage, mapping sessions, storage, vacuums, all those fields seems great. One of my biggest issues isn't necessarily with how to build a track, it's where the stuff that isn't trying to build. You need the cost of the track, it's the basing of tennis courts, rebuilding tennis court basketball courts. So in this plan, there are no basketball courts, and the tennis courts go on school property. Has that been fully discussed or planned out? Because to me, it's like if we could just march our way through phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and trade off of the things kind of makes sense. But if we could never get past phase 3, we'll never get to phase 4, we never get back to the first place. I'm not fully sure how that.
I'm not sure how much discussion would have. Well, that was one option for tennis courts. Houston is also another option for tennis courts. Or pickleball courts now, probably.
All I can tell you is this is what the plan was in 2016. It thank you for joining meeting with the school board next month. Perhaps that's facility, Joe Park facility is something to bring back then. My question is, how big are the existing back? Existing, they are 20 feet, measured the other day, 20 feet by 18 feet. The capital kitchen is there. Sorry, the entire structure is 20 feet by 18. Yeah. That includes, that includes storage, that includes 2 bathrooms, it includes 8 concessions there. The plan of capital kitchen bathroom was a 35 by 35 structure. It had, it's either 3 and 3 for bathroom stalls, or 4 and 4, I can't remember. It had a storage place and it had a small section stand.
So they're not gonna use it, building, they're gonna knock down the photo.
They would knock down this building, they would keep everything that is there, but I would imagine you would want to knock down that building.
I don't disagree with that. Part of why I asked the question, they look at all of the, what it's gonna take to relocate all the electric or the.
Again, this was 2016, 2017. I don't know, but in terms of that facility where there is stuff already versus the other one where there's nothing. I can't imagine it would be.
And the plan does call for hooking to the sewer system versus there's something there, but we don't really know what, so that was
But it's
included in the
currently
plan.
would be easier. Because if it moved to the new location, we have to not do. Right,
It would have to be new everywhere.
if we move.
No,
Oh,
Because-
okay.
because it's not connected to the sewer system. It has a leach field and it's not as far where it is versus
I see.
the other.
Does the school board have a position, or would you making this recommendation of the capital?
Like I want to remember who is here, I'm not sure if he's going to speak in that account or not. I have talked to the superintendent several times, and he has said, unfortunately, the town owns the fields, which you do, and I get that. We as a school, we're the biggest users, and we are actually townspeople too, and I've had that argument and said, well, we use this, and he said, well, they'll make their arguments as a townsperson. So my take is that my one is on board with this, but that would be something, he's told me. We have to do.
So I guess my basic question is, if we were to move forward with the bathrooms where they are and we can ADA compliant. And undertake that project, we can still keep the other conceptual plan.
Not sure we know that. That's kind of my concern. I don't really care where the bathrooms are and
Right.
they would be easier to leave there.
Yeah.
But we go out and we do these plans and then we throw them out
Right.
without looking at the ramifications if we start changing them. My big thing is we should look at the whole plan then and make sure
Yeah,
what we want still fits. And maybe it does. There's supposed to also be an access road that comes through there that was going to go out to the bathrooms, which doesn't really show on this plan. But we need to make sure that the fields are accessible and without going too far. You can come from the parking lot, it's easy enough because it's flat.
How much money do we have?
We appropriated 120 last year. And pretty much we've been spending everything in there. So that's pretty much what we have allocated for this project.
Possibly 35.
So, yeah, I don't know how big this one was. I'm not sure I'm not really familiar with that plan. I just have the loyalty on our numbers.
I thought you saw money inside for a couple of years and had closer to 250.
Let me grab that just to make.
Is the current track, does it have like?
It's also, it's a 50-mile track.
No, yeah, right. So what are they, we're like, the track as planned is like this unknown piece because of the cost of it. The cost of it also one stuff where there was just a full size track in this location with a field. Then I'm curious, phasing is just the thing that's on. And really, tennis courts is a big problem.
I'm gonna see out one minute. These my phone, hold on, Amanda, we can't pick you up. Okay, I'd like to echo what Dan said, it's just getting lost here, that this east-west field is horrible. And it's so antiquated to double down on the way to do the facility with fields that go this way, so that it's constantly a coin toss and who's, eyes with the setting sun. So, but this plan is flawed in my mind from
won't get started, and so it's not just the bathrooms, it's bigger piece here that we've missed, and so I would have. I'd like to see you consider that fact before you just keep charging ahead of hospital costs.
Regardless of what, I agree with you, but regardless of what the plan is, the bathroom application is not affected. Other than ease of use. Where it is now, I gave you several reasons why I think the current facility, the current location makes more sense.
Just, so there was $97,950 in the fund at the end of 23. We added 50,000. And the budget for this project was 120,000 in 2024. In 2025, there's money for the baseball field, Park Avenue field irrigation, because the thought is when other fields are done, we're going to have to go there, as well as field 2 and 3 and 4. So some irrigation. So that's what the plan has in it, but last year's plan.
So it's $150,000 right now, 147.
There's 120 allocated to the bathrooms.
Like you just said, there was 97,000, there's 50 in this bathroom project.
Right, but some of that is planned to be used for other projects. So 120 was put in for the George Park bathrooms. In last year, I'm just telling you what's in last year's plan.
So we spent a lot of time on this. I don't remember the discussed issue coming up back then. Yeah,
I don't
so
even
that's a new thing for us to.
remember.
But. Well,
Presumably for that,
it's-
right, but it's not like a new. I wish it did.
Yeah.
No, but there was a lot of involved.
That's what I'm saying.
Stuff, and I don't, maybe it was mentioned, but like, I don't know why we would move forward if there were like paramount projections to rotation of the soccer field. And so I'm just saying that this feels like new information. And I guess I'm sort of thinking about this from the perspective of if we just keep the bathrooms where they are and, you know, maybe we do need to revisit this whole thing. I don't know if that really is the direction we want to go, if we want to stick with this plan, but it feels like a separate issue is just the bathrooms, and we can continue with the plan that we worked a long time on with a lot of people, given time and energy, but still move forward with the bathrooms as a priority, then perhaps that's a path forward versus moving them and delaying further, you know, having new bathrooms. That's just one thought.
I agree with you, the news about the east west, that was new to me, and I decided about it new also. And, I think people are expecting that, and we did, put it, I mean, we did talk about it. So, I guess my leaning is also to go forward with the existing method.
I agree. Doesn't sound like we had any concrete information that keeping the bathrooms where they are would frustrate this conceptual plan. And I also agree that we probably ought to take another look at this, because I don't recall the east-west issue, and that's concerning.
But if we're saying that's an issue, and that we should be looking at the layout, and then also saying you still stick another ending location, in where we put the back of my problem.
But it seems like if they stay where they are, it sounds like they do not.
And then it wouldn't be a problem with like this layout, if we're saying we want to look at this layout. We don't know what this is.
But I could be wrong, but it feels like a pretty radical change for a new configuration to impact where the bathrooms are currently located.
There's quite a hill there.
Yeah.
That's significant that we have to change that part of the plan.
I know we're just kind of taking a stab at it and saying, probably not, but if we're gonna relook at the layout, how do we know what about it? Maybe through that layout process, we can kind of better, but maybe not there, maybe not current, maybe different things.
Well, I'm not sure we're talking about actually throwing this out. Like, I'm not doing it there, so it seems like, to Stephen's point, it seems like the current location makes sense in like the majority of possible. So unless you guys wanna like throw this out and re-engage, you know, stakeholder group and re-engage engineers and start over. It does seem like the bathrooms are pretty, like that's a critical need at the moment. And if we can take sort of the path of least resistance here and try to get those done, and we can maybe rework this a little bit, or we stick with it. But it sounds like those are both options, even if we move forward with fixing up the bathroom, maybe the bathrooms. I'm not in favor of throwing this whole thing up there.
I'm not either, but I agree that I think the bathrooms are something that need to be addressed on a quicker timeline than either sticking with this conceptual or doing the whole process over.
You know, if we said that it's, these bathrooms in the existing location, would they be done before town meeting?
No.
Next summer?
No. Next year. They'll be done next year, no matter.
The current plan have for storage.
Would-
The current plan including storage and actually.
I'd have to look and see what's included. Actually, having a snack shed in a bathroom is not ideal. To be honest.
Yes, the plan is to redo the storage, there's a wooden shed over there that is also been there for quite some time, and if that would disappear, ideally the storage would end up as the storage.
So I guess the process wise, and we're already on the phase path. I guess if we as a board decide we want to prioritize the bathrooms and the one, you know, major change to this would be not the new location, but the current location of the bathroom. We can continue to talk about the other stuff in the other phases, but I don't know if there's consensus on sort of prioritizing the bathroom and then
I think the bathroom is prioritized because that's the next expenditure. I think if you're going to change the plan, though, probably from staff perspective, then it becomes your plan. If this is the process to change it.
Yeah, so I guess this question about like east-west, I don't know if we wanna. I don't know how people wanna move forward with that information and like taking a fresh look at.
Right, I'm actually, I'm more nervous about the transports and. Because like if there's no real option to do the transports up there, then this plan doesn't function at all.
I think that there's probably options, other options for tennis courts. Is that
So the test court is placed on the contract. Because right behind the school parking is not property, so we had, situated them on.
So on the tax map, that spot is listed as street level.
it looks beyond on school property
And
to me.
his picture does that.
It does. It does. Yeah.
That line isn't there. on the back. That line that would cut off and a source doesn't exist.
Right. I think that was sold separately, if I remember right.
Proposed for doing it on town property then?
Yes, because it's closer to the road than than where the tennis courts are shown.
Yeah, we just, we can't keep up people in the crowd, so that here, if anyone else wants to come up, please cut in the mic so that the, all of our minutes are watching. I am Nancy Gilman, 168 Westford Circle. I don't really have a stake in the bathrooms, don't wait. And I'm excited to see this happening, and I kind of thought this was marching along, so I'm pleased that it is. And I haven't paid much attention to it because
knew that there was a task force, a committee that got together and the vested parties did this, but it was back in 2016 or 17. And it seems to me that perhaps it's been a while since we really looked at this, and so it's this phase, but yet this phase didn't take, like, whoever developed this phasing didn't take into account that moving the bathroom was gonna mess up the soccer field right around this year, and then messing up the soccer field is gonna have a chain reaction of messing up field hockey field next year. So, to me, this has been, we kind of dropped the ball, and part of what you need to help you figure out which direction to go is in GC. Like, this is a building project, like, who's steering the ship? You have the high school who has a vested interest, you have Hopkinton Recreation vested interest, HISA, the highway department, buildings and grounds, you have all these groups that have like competing or collaborative interests, yet they're not collaborating, it's just kind of buildings and grounds moving along, and then becomes like, oh, shoot, this is gonna happen, wait a minute, but we're not talking about this process along the way. And this is big, like, we have potential to do something awesome here, this is kind of my concern over the field facing thing, I actually noticed that when I saw it, so I'm glad Dan brought it up, it's the first thing I saw, because I'm coaching soccer right now, and it's an issue every single game. So, I'd like to see somehow the vested parties get together on a, like a monthly basis, a representative of each group, or every 3 months, something, there needs to be some talking about this as we march forward. I think it would be best served to be treated as a building project, and somebody needs to be steering the ship, and we actually have a full-time athletic director at our school now, so it's not like we don't have somebody who he's available and he's the expert there. And then we have Paula, who's a paid representative, right? So we have people who we can pull in to continuously look at this and guide it along the way. And I think that we're missing the boat, like the 50,000 foot view, if we just are focusing on bathrooms. Thank you. And then my other question, Neil, why we can't do the bathrooms till next year? Like, let's just say, like, go ahead right now.
I think just logistically,
Like, next year, meaning next summer.
early spring, or whenever timing works and we can get a contractor.
I have to express my frustration with the glacial speed at which things move, but that's not a problem.
Yeah, and like, I'm probably said, even else, we rely on, not experts and third parties, and we don't consider their timelines, same thing with road work. I will just say that, the groups you mentioned, Amanda, were involved. Yep, but no law. Well, I mean, I guess this is like a real long process and predates all of us. I mean, it started to be discussed in like the mid-2000s. It's like a long time ago. And there was a lot of stakeholder input to get here. And every year we review this during our budget process and talk about this. And so it's not like this went into some black hole. It's just, there's a lot of stuff going on. And so we can also make these people pay attention to. But I guess, the question I have is, do we need to reconvene a stakeholder group and take a whole fresh look at this? I do think the issue with the bathroom, that it was a priority back then because it's, it's not in great condition. And I think the reason we're focused on it is because it's like next on the list, and it's something we can move forward with while still separately discussing, do we keep this plan or move forward with this plan? And if the bathrooms are, they're pretty bad, then, I think we should prioritize them and next on the list anyway. So, but I don't think that's at the expense of thinking a bigger. Paul, do you have any thoughts you want to share in the mic, or? Or no, you don't have to, just. We just can't hear you unless you want.
Thank you. So I guess my one comment would be, yes, we did spend a lot of time looking at this, discussing this. We make plans, that's great. And plans take time to execute. We need to raise funds. I'm a taxpayer here too. I get that. I understand that. So in the time that we've spent talking about this plan, years and years, men's softball came, they saw the plan, they had an objection to the plan. They came forward, we discussed. So now, like at that time, the east-west field, I mean, this has been up since Wayland Tanner made this, how long ago? But, and our plan was out there since 2017. It has been on the website. We have been talking about it. It's been posted. So now we're in 2024 and issues are coming up. So we're already 7 years into this. And I think there's a time when we review. I came forward to you at a time and said, do you like this plan? Do you not like this plan? Should we review this plan? Or do you want to go forward? So you make a decision, we go forward. So if you want to put together a brand new committee to review this, and we go through this exact same process. 3 years, we're down the road, new plan, we spend more money with Hoyle and Tanner, reviewing how now we want to go back to where, you know, the track is situated over top of the baseball field, how that was presented last time, whatever you want to do, that's fine. So we're going to spend more money, more time. And then that plan is going to take another set of many, many years to work forward. And in that time, we're going to have more people come through. Well, I don't like where, you know, the tennis courts now, we should have 6 courts instead of 4 courts. And so how many times do we want to keep having a plan, letting time go by because we need that time to raise the funds, and then readjusting the plans and continue spinning wheels? So that's the only comment I will make to you as we go forward. I don't like spinning my wheels. I'd like to get things done right the first time. So if you do put together a committee, 3 meetings, and I am on that committee, I will ask of you, let's make sure this really gets out to the community. So all the people who have opinions on how fields are faced and where bathrooms are located, and you know, how many courts are where, and all the basketball players that want to use our basketball courts can have that opportunity to come in. We shut that down and we move forward, because this will continue as people just do not like a piece of something on.
Be very quick. I just want to say that I'm also saying like a GC is different than we be another committee to look at this thing. Okay, so I don't like the soccer fields. I didn't voice an opinion back then. That's me personal. But the point that the left and the right hand and the people aren't talking is still there. This is a big project. And there's going to be a lot of moving parts. Everybody who's ever built a house knows that crap changes as you move along and you have to make decisions on the fly. And wouldn't it be better if all of the stakeholders were available to make decisions together? Thank you.
I just want to say that the plan was adopted. We have been following the plan, and each year we have revisited it and we do follow it, which is how phase 1 got done. And we, depending on how much funding we have, it would have been great to have this 4-phase be a 5-year plan and not a 50-year plan. So
Multi-year plan is it?
it has changed. The last time had the track, the last time we updated the timeline was 2 years ago, and that had the track in 2030. But that's probably not realistic now.
I think we had a track in 2033.
So I would say every year it gets extended.
I just want to say one thing, just comment to you guys. Don't toss anything out. This obviously went this long for a lot of people to look into it. I'm not weighing an opinion on it or anything. There's someone who led a facility project, a lot of people actually put a lot of work into it. I don't think one meeting would justify throwing something away, so you actually hear feedback from the community of people who actually put a lot of time into that, because there is reasons why this is this way. Yes, times change, but it's also kind of a sending a message to how people will put this together. Okay.
Do I interpret your comment as saying don't move the bathroom to the central location?
I would, for me personally, I would probably leave bathrooms where they are right now. if you want my honest opinion on that.
It's just because you said, continue following the plan.
Uh. Well, what I was hearing from here tonight, Ken, I was hearing more of the effect that they start from scratch and. Begin the whole process over again. I just don't think that's the appropriate avenue to go right now. I think it's important to listen to what was established. Where it comes to the bathrooms, Dan's made some good points on how they have an effect. And I do believe there's a safety issue there too also, we have young students and if we can see something that happens with cameras that this to be holds me and that could prevent some safety issues there. But other than that, that was the first thing when I talked to Mr. Reserve about that I brought up and also the safety of our students. So, recently I had a student yelling because they couldn't get out of the bathroom because the door was off. So that's a little scary, and then I was like, I had never used bathrooms before, but they're not like, I never needed to, but then I went in there and I realized the door was on. And I was a little concerned, so. They were panicking, but I saved them.
And to say one more thing, Steve. So, again, I don't disagree with what Paul said, we can plan and let's get people in and let's look at it. But this is all about what we're gonna do later. We've got the money for bathrooms, we don't have money for the bathrooms will we need to address, and the bathrooms, if we do put them in this location for something that may or may not happen, it is going to have an enormous effect on our facilities right now. And that would be drastic. And I really think the ability to put them there where it is not going to affect anything. And I'm sorry, Tom, I don't think it's going to affect any future plans down the road. I think we should look for this new location, or excuse me, the existing location. Thank you.
So process wise, this is already our next step, right? And already next phase.
That's next in the priority list, certainly.
I guess I've been convinced that we should stay with the location that, not the plan, the actual,
Yeah.
I think
good item.
I would be more concerned if that would completely throw off this plan and then we had to like really figure out what our path forward for everything else was, but the fact that they can stay where they are, it seems easier. Anyway, than moving them, and we can still potentially move forward with this. Or go back to the drawing board, that's, when we end up to this moment, it seems like, we can just. Sounds like we have a consensus, maybe that's some good, but I'm worried.
I'm not opposed to being where they are. I don't think we should do anything until we know the fence work you're gonna go and how we can put in the whole now.
You don't think we should get into the bathroom?
If the skate park, whatever happens to the skate park, and if there's no option for a tennis court, this plan. It doesn't even really exist. And then we have the entire thing, everything has to be around. And then where does it? I don't want to be limited to where stuff can go on anything because we chose to put the bathroom spot before we move on.
Right, but it sounds like it would be a very strange world in which a bathroom is sort of being stored in that.
Right?
It also kind of feels like a project unto itself, like it's separate and apart from this in some ways, if they are so bad, and we can't have kids getting locked in them because it's one on saw. So it's like, yeah, in an ideal world, we would probably move forward with this and have it in that location, I guess, although that doesn't even sound ideal anymore, but.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't think it's necessarily now, without knowing where the tennis courts are gonna go, and if we can, we can build phase 4 eventually. Where they are, where this plan puts the bathrooms and the current location, I think there is going to be. And we have to get it done, it has to happen now, then the current location is as good as anyone else, but.
Okay.
My budget pack, I've heard that you know, and I would agree that the current location would be less expensive. But, so also you had to do more of electricity, sewer and all. And the issue about safety, what it could sewer and the damage.
Bring back season, is it?
Oh, yeah, no, feel free.
Greg, for 1158 Brian Road, I'm Greg Heisa. I don't know, Tom, if you've been into those bathrooms lately. I think second to Dan, he said, well, the next most amount of stuff on those courts, we're there for, tennis, we're there for, basically softball all summer. We have tournaments there. And, you know, Norm's right, those bathrooms, they're not just bad, they're embarrassing. And I encourage you to go in there, take, you know, if you have kids, bring your kids in there and see those bathrooms. I mean, we hear when people come in from town, and I'm this, you know, no dig on the town, but I hear it all the time when we have visiting teams come in, and you hear them saying, oh, I thought this was Hopkinton, I thought this was supposed to be a nice town. And then they see our bathrooms. We have to do something with those bathrooms, whether it's, you know, and I know you're concerned about what if we have to readjust, but look how slow this process is taking, right? So we're talking, I mean, phase 4 would probably be another 10 years from now. Even if you did the bathrooms now, you wouldn't be moving those bathrooms again, even if worst case scenario, you have to blow them up to do phase 4. But that's 15, 20, 30 years away. 20, 30 years out of a bathroom, I think it's a pretty nice life cycle on a bathroom. So I think something has to get done. I mean, it's bad. We have kids in there and Norm's right. My kid's gotten stuck in there because there's no doorknob. There's literally no doorknob on the bathroom. So something has to get done. And I think whether you knock them down and just leave them down at the porta potties, and that'd be a better solution than what there is right now, because those bathrooms are borderline unusable, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, I think, as a town, that's what we put forward for our kids and for visitors to this town to use. So thank you.
Okay.
I'm supportive of doing the bathroom work in the current location.
So I fully agree with the concept of this plan was put together, it's well thought out, presumably all of the hearings happen, public hearing happen. So in the same vein of presumably everyone being back in like presumably they also knew where the fence was going to go. So I'm going to presume that all already figured out. So in that case, if we're keeping this plan based on this plan, it's needed.
Yeah.
To that point,
All right, so it sounds like we have a general consensus on moving forward as planned with the bathrooms, and we have some noted priority in the current location, which hopefully will help. It'll be a little less disruptive and less pollution. Although, do we need to now, like, I don't know process wise within the, I think of the kind of the contractor and getting estimates. That's it, so.
Well, we'll handle that like we always do. I wish I had known you were going down this road. I would have had Dan come. I just assumed you were gonna follow a different process. So that's fine. But we'll move forward.
Do you think Dan? Could we wait and see what his opinion is on the bathroom location?
No, I don't think it's the location, it's the process. So, but I think you made your decision. Let's move forward.
Okay, and the bathroom, this isn't like a crazy detour, right? I mean, the bathroom's next on our, the next things, so,
Right.
okay. And I don't want people to leave here with the impression that we're scrapping this. I was saying hypothetically, that's one path forward. It's not one I'm suggesting here. So I don't want people to think that's what was decided here. I think we're really just looking at this narrow issue. Next step is bathroom. And if we can leave it where it is, it seems simpler and better. So.
And I don't wanna make this part of the meeting bigger than needs to be, because I think we already have figured out the bathroom part, but I am troubled by the east-west concern, because I really don't remember that being a consideration. I think we do need to, I don't know if reopen is the right word, but relook at this. Because I don't wanna sink additional staff in town into the plan that as soon as we start breaking down and people are outside of copy because of the CCS. And I also, the phase 4 on the track, I mean, I also would be interested to know if there's still the same level of interest in that there was. Back in 2018. I don't know if there is, it's greater now, I'm just not aware of it, but, this plan was sort of, put together based upon the premise that eventually we get to do phase 4, which is why everything was sort of moved placed where it is. And if that's no longer feasible or no longer desired by the community, it would be nice to know that before we continue going down.
It could be a very different plan if that's,
Yeah.
as you said, this was designed around the track.
Yeah,
So,
so I do think we need to circle back to this, not tonight, but I do think we need to circle back to this.
All right, are we ready to move on? Big conversation, making everyone is considering stuff. The bathrooms. Okay, so. We can move on to old business. First up, we have, Old Town Road liability.
So you have a, yeah, I think you've already made a decision here though. And this is just the draft waiver. And if this is okay with you, I will get Mr. Poor and I assume Mrs. Poor or Ms. Poor to sign it. This is the house, the second one on Old South Road. The first driveway goes in, this just extends a little further. It's part of the subdivision. They do have frontage on South Road, but the logical access is off Old South Road. And this is the standard waiver, which we've used on other roads. The last one I think we did was Buswell Corner.
And I think in the original draft, you sent it, mentioned Boundtree Road, and you changed that, correct?
Yes, because that's a long ways.
Yeah.
Actually, I stand corrected. The last Class 6 road agreement was for Boundary Road, which is, I changed all the others, missed that one. But we fixed that.
And did it really something?
Yes, they approved it. Because it does have the required frontage on South Road.
The new subdivision.
Yeah, the new lot.
The new line, any of that. Really good thought. So one thing we're wanting to present. Publicly, we made it very clear, I don't give you anything other than say it here. Is that the classic road is still a classic road, and access to this classic road. In the past, houses that have done this have transformed the classic road into something that looks very much like the driveway. Making it uncomfortable to people faster. So that is a nice trail to get through to the other side of the lot of the road. That's what we should be very clear publicly. It's still a classic.
Any changes they want to make to that road, you have to authorize in writing. So if they're going to do any work to it, that will come to you and you'll have to authorize it.
That's true.
That is true.
Yes.
Would it hurt to have some language consistent with the comments we're suggesting? In reading the agreement?
I don't think so. I mean, that is the law. If they have to, they can't do it. I don't think we need extra stuff. It's just, I think. I just want to be, I
I
don't
was
want.
trying to support you.
Yeah. No, I just want to like. Like, oh,
Hear himself talk.
it's. I just don't want them to later on that line to like, oh.
Some kind of a-
I don't think you need a vote or anything. If you're good with this, then I'll get them to sign it and then you can approve it after that, but it seems like they should sign it first. And they've seen it, so I'm sure they will sign it. I'm sure he'll be here at 8 AM tomorrow morning.
Next item under old business is the primary election efforts.
All set up.
Thank you to everyone who has put time and energy into this, and, I'm planning on being there hopefully by 6:45. That's when the moderator, Christina, said it would be most helpful, so I don't know if others can make that. I'm planning on being there.
I already, but like Kathy is gonna be taking the first shift until I can get there, and then I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there all day.
Those are traveling, so I have to take the kids to school, but only do the rent, drop off.
Hopefully they have an excuse to leave it because it's nice.
But you don't,
There shouldn't be many write-ins because there are enough races.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry.
okay, so it sounds like. Generally good there. Anything else, Liam, on there?
Nope, I think we're good to go.
All right, next under new business, town policy updates.
Sure, so you got a memo. What we're trying to do is update all the town policies and get them into a very searchable, easy to find format. And in looking, there are these three: town meetings and elections, sewer plant coverage, and payment of health insurance benefits, group 2. That were all sort of done for specific reasons, it appeared many years ago, like 40 or 30 or 40 years ago, and really don't have a purpose. So I'm hoping you will rescind these three policies, just so we don't have to deal with them in the process. There may be amendments to other ones, but these don't seem to have any purpose. The
Do we have a public hearing?
There's policies, so.
I don't think you do for policies. They're not ordinances. And probably nobody knows they exist other than they are listed online, but
So the way to proceed is just a motion to delete them.
rescind them.
We would send us the policy.
We waited 2 minutes. When I read through these, I didn't know we were doing this.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for, I'm sure it's a very fun project. I think we all-
Beverly's working on it.
You expect it-
Been on my list for 15 years. It's finally.
Any other policies that you think maybe? Could be similar on the same line?
No. These are the rescind ones. Which is phase 1. And then phase 2 is updating the personnel, the purchasing. And the plot plan one. And then. All of combining them and codifying them.
So, you need one?
I really do.
All right, all in favor of rescinding?
All right.
Aye. Unanimous? Okay, next up is the 2025 merit.
We are working on budgets, so it's that time to at least start to think about merit. So this is the chart we use, which would indicate the total amounts. So the box. I can pull that up.
What's the, I don't know if you get into this while we're doing it, but just the significance of the color coding, if any.
White is group 1, blue is group 2 police, and red is group 2 fire. So they have different, it's really for my benefit when I put the percentages in.
No, okay, that's all.
That's the only difference.
Neil, if you have a feeling at this point, in terms of the budget, what are the major drivers?
I think probably it's the capital stuff again. I think the operating budget, everybody's kind of hoping to stay pretty close to where they are. No major additions that I'm aware of at this point. It's still operating budgets aren't due until October, but I'm not aware of anything major.
I'm thinking in terms of, there's a budget committee meeting Wednesday, probably going to give us. Do we have any feel? That answer helped.
I would say no.
Fair.
It's
That's all we've been doing.
it's tough.
No, Neil answered that there were some, operating budget expenses that are jumping for some reason.
Heating fuels down. I would expect electricity is down. So some of those drivers that affect, New Hampshire retirement goes down July 1 of 2025, which is a little surprising. But the markets have been good, so that helps.
The blue option for health care.
Yeah, I would guess that I would hope we don't have a guaranteed maximum increase. Hopefully our pool did better in the rating year that we did last year. And then hopefully the plan changes would absorb any. So I'm hoping that there's no increase there.
And hasn't you go around 3%, they will know the whole thing.
Thank you, Jeff. I was going to say that I think the percentage around inflation is, so rather use that as a starting. Easier to figure out percentage.
I think the consensus, and we'll put that in because you'll vote on it when it's in there, but that gives us a number to put in.
All right, last one is in business, 2025 audits.
Nothing unusual. Christmas and New Year's are both on Thursday. And I didn't put at the bottom those half day. We only open a half day. This year, 4th of July was on Thursday and we didn't open on Friday. I have no negative feedback.
Just. Usually it's on a Thursday, maybe we can't get it.
That's probably true. Did that not get changed? Oh, yeah. Must be on a Wednesday. I usually start 2 days in advance. That's So I don't know what you think about the 2 days. And this is 2025, so this is a year and a.
Thursday, Friday, and Thursday. Friday.
Well, and the main reason, like 4th of July, we did it this year. But my concern was Wednesday, Christmas Eve, we're closed. And New Year's Eve, we close early, so it makes 3 days, which seemed a little long. I'm sure probably what we'll end up doing is running a skeleton through. I have to talk to Christine too to see what she wants to do with her office. And that's still a year and a half away, so it seems so far away, but this is not this year, it's 2025 and into 2026. It's just helpful for us to get it all on the calendar in advance. So as of now, this is listed and everything's pretty standard, what we've done every year. Matches the personnel policy. All right, good. Sure. We already talked about Townie Night and the number. One of our paramedics is leaving at the end of the month. He's becoming the deputy fire chief in Ware. What was that? And where? At the moment. So that's happening. Welfare, Human Services has been really busy. I think I had interacted with 7 clients last Tuesday after the holiday. We had 2 homeless people, one of which didn't come to us, but went to Concord, which was actually, and they took care of it. So that was appreciative. It's all of a sudden, this week seems a little quieter, though. I think I had 2 calls this afternoon. We did have through Indeed in our advertising 60 applications. We've are in the process of setting up interviews. We've got some all set for next week. So my hope is that we narrow it down and have somebody for that position pretty soon. The solar at the wastewater treatment facility, if you've driven in there, the staging is up for the panels and work is happening there. Briar Hill has cost less than we were expecting. It is likely next week on Tuesday and Wednesday, the road will actually be closed at 846 Briar Hill, and we'll get that out. I decided not to put it out until this Wednesday because I thought it might confuse people today if we put it out. To replace culverts, it looks like we probably will get to where culvert number 4 is that we fixed. So that is
Wait, which one's called the one?
the furthest.
On the last one, after this one?
Yeah, you come down off the hill. Yeah, it's
Go
before.
down the hill, these large flat spot, and the over there, with like all no problems. And when it floods, it's really cold.
Is that one of the ones we replaced? I think
Right, there's the.
it's where the new pavement is.
Turning on.
Yeah, so it's gone really, really well.
Was that about twice the distance we were visiting?
I don't know if twice, but quite a bit more than we thought would be possible. They found better material in there than expected for one thing. A lot, it's come out, but we've been able to screen it and reuse stuff and create gravel.
They've already marked off, so they had marked off the silver tape, or they're sorry, the pink tape to a spot, and then they had remarked off past to where horse barn is. They say they're gonna mark off even further than that.
Yes, so a ways past the horse barn down to where there's a
Which where that culvert is, like the worst one.
yeah, so that I believe that culvert is the one being there are 2 right there that are being replaced next week, which is why the road will be closed. And then it goes all the way down, and we should be able to go to where the culvert is that we replaced a few years ago to that new pavement. There still will be a lot to do because starting at this end, there's a lot more drainage and a lot more issues. But the drainage will be done on the big hill leading up to the horse barn there and all of that. So that is really good. We're meeting this week with Novus and should have prices and timeline on the lagoon cleanup. So that's good as we're trying to put all that together. We've talked about it before, we did receive the low interest loan from DES, the Clean Water Fund, at the 4.1 million, of which 401,000 is forgivable. But we should be able to, we'll be getting more numbers. And if we have enough, I think Webster will come next time and we can go through the whole thing with both boards together. So that's good. We're also working on the asset management. We received grants for both wastewater and stormwater. So we met with DES this week. Those projects are moving forward. Budgets are due in on October 15th. CIP requests are due in at the end of this week. Assessments, hearings have ended. We had to cut off at some point. They added, I think, 4 or 5 more extra days, which is not really surprising given the market. And people should be receiving notification. They may be upset again if they receive the notification and they didn't do exactly what they want, but we should be getting those. We're also waiting for the utility values so we can get those in, and which won't change too much because because of the way they're done. And the campground, which is being done now, so we should have that. The housing subcommittee chose Barrett Associates. I think Jeff knows Judy Barrett, to do the housing grant thing. They'll be looking at housing and how it fits into the updating our ordinances. There'll be a lot of public outreach, which is really good. Mark your calendars on October 19th and 20th at 2 p.m. is the 2024 cemetery walk at the Davisville Cemetery. So if I learn my lines, I am Henry the Hermit. Henry Davis the Hermit. So I think that's it. So Thomas, if you see my vehicle here, like on a Thursday night late, I'm really not here. I bet that last night you were probably like, what's he doing here? I didn't die. I was at the Historical Society. All those cars, yeah. So Sundays and Thursdays are rehearsals.
Can I ask a follow-up question about that?
Sure.
So the culvert that you're talking about, with the big, where they're gonna make it to the big culvert project, that was like, stagecoach road?
Yeah, it's so let's see. Before Stagecoach is 1,
Yeah.
and then there's 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So it's the 4th one, the furthest one out. We should be able to get to.
Okay, so not to the new paving,
Not to the.
not to that.
Well, it was repaved at Culvert
Yeah,
4,
yes.
just to that. Yes,
Right, that culvert did,
the culvert that's beyond that.
culvert 4 didn't get, repaved.
Yes, it did. We did 4 of them.
Got it.
So, and then the one that's bad is getting replaced.
Yes.
So,
I think you're gonna have to go and walk that if
I know.
Yeah.
We have to do a whole.
which is, it's pretty amazing they've gotten as far as they have, so. And money has been set aside to do the full top coat pavement next year because that's already allocated. So we'll get paved this year with the first coat, and then next year we'll get a full top coat. And we're gonna bring for the CIP the amount to finish it. Now, we'll see where that goes and but that's the next thing.
On the paramedic issue, when are they leaving and is there concern about replacing that? person?
They are, feelers are already out, nads are already out. And the two of our paramedics have stepped up already to figured out a plan to cover the hours. So we'll be covered.
And then we start meeting in November.
Yes. Unless you finish the budget in the first, although may bring something next time. I realize Christine actually brought it to my attention that she's scheduled to present her budget on the first night, which is the day before the general election, which probably is not a good time. Yeah, she definitely won't be here, but it may not be a good night to start budgets.
Yeah.
So I'll relook at that to see how the schedule falls. So maybe you won't meet that week. We can adjust it. I'll look, because that's not a good, she definitely won't be here.
Any other questions? Thank you for that. Thank you.
There's been a lot going on. It's been,
So you indicated that our next meeting, we're meeting with Webster Select Board?
maybe.
Maybe.
As soon as we have Lagoon numbers enough to present, they will come. Because they were originally scheduled to the meeting that got canceled. But in talking, it seemed to make sense for them to come when we had those numbers.
Bring it to public forum. There's no one left. Town hall, and anyone online wishes to speak, you can raise your hand. Okay. Anyone have anything for other?
To minor, you said?
Oh, okay.
Minor, yeah, that's fun. Well, no, because I was just thinking about it because roads, what's budget, what's all this stuff, we do some big backlog of roads. And it's been 2 years since the last one. And I'm wondering if there's any thought, discussion about another bond. And if budget committee is starting to meet about this, any recommendations from budget committee as to when and how we should be bonding. I don't know. Maybe any thoughts?
I think CIP will look at it first. And so the main project we'll bring in will be finishing Briar Hill. That's sort of the next. We will also have bond votes. There's at least two. The first one is the Lagoon. The probably 4.1 million. And the other one is the 120,000 for the work on the sewer cammering and all of that, which was also the grant of which 100,000 will be forgiven, but we have to. I wish it was 99,000, but it's so we'll have to go through the process on that one too. So that may play into whether we want a third bond too.
On that one, though, the net to taxpayers is 25,000, more or less.
The 20,000 on the one,
But we still have to go through the years of one.
right? Because you're borrowing the money. But the net to taxpayers on the other one is 3.7.
Yeah, that one.
So,
And then I have another question, I think it's more of a question, I guess, is if there's any comment back from Jolie about changing the communication. I know she was thinking about coming in, or just like how it's been going, if we should be doing another enforcement effort or.
probably that wouldn't be a bad idea. And some of the fee things, there are things that could be improved, and the thought is to bring that when both boards are here. So we've had some conversation around that.
What's the process for finding out our ID system? Access like us.
Somebody would have to research it.
When you say that, like, what does that mean?
You pull up, get a sticker on the window, the gate open,
Oh, the gate, okay,
that keeps out. Out of town.
yeah, okay,
It kicks off some local people, haven't got their sticker.
yeah,
There's no good way. That is made out there. Before stickers, don't get me wrong,
yeah.
a little bit easy. But. People drive their vehicles don't.
So definitely in research then.
I probably will, yes.
Somebody did, Tony Gilmore did some research on that. I'll ask him. Before. I think. Yeah.
One non-public tonight, and after that we will adjourn in the purposes.
I wanted to add an additional non-public also for reputation.
So we have two non-publics under 91(8)(3)(2). I will move that we go into non-public under 91(8)(3)(2)(z).
Second,
All right, roll call, Stephen?
yes.
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 Thanks, everyone.